We're back with your next exercise for riding reset, and today is another riding exercise. So for today's exercise, we're going to be putting our hand on a helmet, and there are so many different benefits to this exercise. I really love this. So again, just a safety tip, if your horse is maybe not the most quiet, if you want to have a friend lead you around, that's a great way to introduce this exercise. But what I want you to do is I want you to think about just putting your hand, your palm, on the top of your helmet. Now, when you first do this, just kind of notice what your body does without you having to think. So where is your elbow? What's your upper back doing? How do your ribs feel? For me, I feel a little bit of tightness in my rib. My elbow's not exactly right beside me, but that's okay. Those are just things that we're gonna observe. What I love about this exercise is it can work in two different folds. So what happens when I put my hand on my head is I actually tend to, and Rumba's really great at standing, she's going to be a great demo horse for this, but I tend to expand through my ribs here, and I stay a little bit more stacked and straight through my spine, my lumbar spine back here. So I love it for that reason. If you tend to sort of round through here, which is one of the tendencies I do have, this can be a great way to just naturally improve your posture. But it does so without, a lot of riders tend to, if you tell them to sit up and sit back, they do this, they add tension to the back, and that's not what we're looking for. So by just doing this simple hand on the helmet, I'm just sort of reaching up and staying lifted through this part of my body, through my ribs. The other thing I like about it is that I can get feedback on where my shoulder is. Again, if I just pull my shoulder back, first of all, that's causing a lot of excess tension, and that's pretty darn uncomfortable. But if I just think about working my elbow back and getting comfortable with that, I can find a place where I'm staying open through my shoulder. So it'll help you stay open through your shoulder without ripping your shoulder back. And if you find that when you first put your hand, if your elbow tends to do this, that really means you just need to work on opening up that shoulder. And again, just do what's easy and just open as much as you can without causing excess tension by pulling the shoulder back. And this is something that you're going to want to practice on both sides. For today's demo purpose, I'm going to just ride with the one side, but again, just something to observe. This side actually feels much easier for me, if I'm being honest, so I'll probably practice with the other side, but just something to observe the difference between both sides. And there's also different benefits to, I'm going to go ahead and pick up the walk and just walk around for a second to get her woken up a little bit, but there's benefits to depending on which arm you want to use and which direction you're going. So if I am on this side and tracking to the left like I am, it's going to give me a little bit different feeling than, for example, if I'm with this side tracking to the left. For example, if you tend to collapse your ribs on one side, let's say I ride around like this, it could be a really amazing exercise to put my hand on my helmet and track this way. That way I'm really being aware and setting my intention to not stay collapsed through those ribs. For this exercise, I'm going to recommend that you do stay in the walk, just because this is more of a stretching, mobility, awareness type of exercise, and not something that we necessarily want to be feeling at all the gates. Plus, there's the added factor of you can only ride with one rein. Luckily, Rumba neck reins, so she's making it pretty easy, but just for safety reasons, something to keep in mind there. You can switch sides. We can track the other direction. This is an exercise that I like to do during a warm-up. So if I'm feeling a little stiff, or I notice that I'm very rounded in my shoulders, feeling stiff in my back, and that already feels actually a lot more comfortable than when I first started. So again, just practice this exercise either at the standstill or the walk. And you can have a friend lead your horse if you're not quite comfortable steering with one hand. That's totally okay. The benefit to this exercise is just sort of getting your body stretched, warmed up before you ride. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you back tomorrow. Happy riding.